Here we are again. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles, ready to review another album. This one, according to Discogs, is the number one most collected album of 2024 so far, and it is The Smile, the Radiohead offshoot, the band The Smile, and Wall of Eyes. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. I'm Robert Fithen, along with Richard from Calvin Wazoo, Craig from Craig's Vinyl Plethora, and ladies and gentlemen, the only person that has the actual physical copy of this album that we're going to be talking about, Mike from Hub Tunes. So he is first.
Oh, so I, uh, I've said this many times on my channel. I like solo projects by members of Radiohead more than I like Radiohead. I like Philip Selway's solo stuff. I like Jonny Greenwood's. His soundtracks are amazing. I even like some of Thom Yorke's solo stuff. And I don't know. There's something about Radiohead. I get why they're so revered. I just some songs I absolutely love. Like I'll hear like one song and I'll be like, fuck yeah. But I don't need to hear an entire album of Radiohead songs. I love the Bends. That would probably be my favorite record of theirs. You know, the later stuff, I get it, but it's just not my thing. I don't know why. Because you would think I would really, really like them. So when it comes to the Smile, you know, when that first record came out, I forget the name of it. And when that debut came out, everyone was raving about it. And I was like, man, I don't know. Should I try this? So I streamed it, and oh, this is interesting. I was really interested in it. I bought the album and everything, and I think it actually was my favorite release of the year that it came out. Whenever was it, 2022? And I just was blown away by how much I loved that record. And I can't tell you why, because it a lot of it does sound like a Radiohead record, you know, because Tom's voice is Tom's voice. He's got his style. It's not You're not going to get away with it. I just found it so much more interesting. The bass work on that record. Oh, we're talking about this record. Well, guess what? I love this record too. This record, I think, is just as good as the debut. I find it actually a little more interesting. I think the arrangements are more just engaging. I think Jonny Greenwood has a lot more influence on this record than the first record. And I could be totally wrong. This is just my opinion. I think the first album was very Thom Yorke driven. I think the rest of the band really drives this record. Jonny Greenwood, I'm sure he is the one kind of doing more of the involved in the arrangements and the songwriting. Um, Tom Skinner is the drummer on here. Tom Skinner is a really cool jazz drummer that I know. He's on the International Anthem record label out of Chicago here, and he's got a couple of releases. He's really cool. He's not really jazz. He's more. It's like jazz, spiritual jazz, but you know, it's kind of ethereal kind of stuff. Really interesting, but he also gets very avant-garde. And he's a wonderful drummer, and he's all over this record. And I just, I really, really dig this. I think it. I'll show the artwork. I don't know if the artwork is. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's the same artist that did the first one. Um, you know, I'm not going to go song to song. The title track is great. The whole first side of this is really, really good. I dig the second side, the opener, friend of a friend, the second side opener. I absolutely love. It just I can't tell you why I like this much better than Radiohead. You would think I would be into it, but you know, maybe I need to give Radiohead, and I've given Radiohead multiple chances. I grew up, you know, listening to Radiohead. All my friends, they're the new Pink Floyd. Remember when people were saying they're the new Pink Floyd? No, they're not. They're really not. But I dig them. I dig this, and I really, really enjoy what they're putting out. I did not get to see them live. It sold out immediately here in Chicago. They played a fairly small venue, But it sold out immediately. I'm guessing from now on they're going to be in large venues. But just really interesting, terrific stuff. So I'm a fan of this record. I will give it. I'll give it 4 rainbows. I really dig this. This is going to be very high on my list of favorite records in 2024. So I wish I could do a better job of explaining, but it's one of those records you need to hear it. You need to hear the intricacies and the feel of how the instruments bounce off of each other and intertwine with each other, and his vocals. And I find it so much more interesting than Radiohead.
Okay. Well, now for something completely different.
I knew it.
So, I was really enthusiastic about listening to this album, the most sought after album, big seller already this year. And, didn't look up anything until I started listening to it. And I started listening to it online. And then I went, oh, shit, it's Thom Yorke. I've never been a Radiohead fan. I've tried to give Radiohead the benefit of the doubt. But I don't like Thom Yorke's voice. And it's not annoying in a way like maybe Geddy Lee's voice is kind of annoying, when you're listening to Rush. But I don't like his slide whistle kind of style of singing. And he sounds, and then this album too, he comes across as trying really hard to express feeling. And to me, he's failing in that spot miserably. Now, Jonny Greenwood's arrangements are really quite good. In fact, I think this record would be really good if it was an instrumental. Maybe do, add some other, things to it, turn it into a little bit of a techno-driven kind of record with Greenwood. But yeah, it's what Yorke is. It's not just his voice too. I looked up the lyrics to the songs so I could follow along, and I really found the lyrics at times to be meandering and unfocused. It was like he was trying to drop references, and it just fell flat with me. But again, I think Greenwood's composing was really, really strong, and it's to me it's Yorke's voice that's diminishing that, detracts from it. And there are singers that I like that many people don't like their voices. I mean, I think Will Toledo's singing is a lot more authentic than Thom Yorke's. I think Conor O'Brien's singing is much more authentic than Thom Yorke's. But yeah, this was the first time. I mean, we've done album reviews where I didn't care all that much, for the release or whatever. But this was one that when I started listening to it, I couldn't wait for it to end. I did not even want to listen all the way through. It's just, Thom Yorke is, I know people love him, and I know people love Radiohead, and that's great, that y'all do. I don't. I did write some notes down for about a couple of songs. Some of the songs I thought, like Wall of Eyes, the opening track, it reminded me of a Villagers song. That's why I wrote down Conor O'Brien, and that. It's a decent song, but, Telharmonic, musically, very interesting song. I like what Greenwood is doing, with that song, but I think Yorke's lyrics are just a total mess. Read the Room, it's okay musically. Again, I think it's excellent, but the vocals, and the vocals kind of work with that song, but under our pillows, I wrote one word down for that song: annoying. Friend of a friend. Um, I thought it was a terrible effort at writing about the pandemic. It just seemed very superficial observation. I quit. The music and the vocals work together well. That's what I wrote down here. It's probably the best song on the album, in my opinion. Bending Hectic, the guitar, Jonny Greenwood's guitar on that song is really, really good. I love the way he is bending the strings. He's just really, but again, this song about being in a car crash, Yorke's voice, the lyrics themselves, I think, are powerful, but I don't know, it just fails with his delivery. And I didn't even jot anything down for the song You Know Me. I mean, by that time, I was just glad that the record was over. And I listened to it twice. It's like, so yeah, I'm not a fan of Radiohead. I'm not a fan of Thom Yorke. I'd be interested in checking out some Jonny Greenwood with his soundtracks or whatever that he's done, because the guy's a composer. The guy knows how to write music.
Yeah.
And he knows how to use instrumentation on that. I just wish he would dump Thom Yorke and get on with something else. So I'm going to give it 2 rainbows.
You know what's interesting is Philip Selway, the drummer, actually writes a lot of the lyrics for Radiohead songs. And I think you're getting majority of the songs written by Thom Yorke.
I couldn't find the writing credits when I was looking at Genius Lyrics, and they didn't put down the writing credits. All they did
there's nothing on the album either.
Yeah, they just put down the production credits.
No one can read that. So,
but it's so I don't know about that, but yeah.
Ugh. I would love to hear an instrumental album. I think that's a great idea. I don't know if they ever planned to. I didn't even think they were going to make a second album, and they came out with this one real quick. But I think an instrumental, I just think they're terrific together.
All right, it's Craig's turn. We'll see where he stands.
I stand in the place where I live. Oh, wrong group. I love Thom Yorke's voice, so I'm just going to throw that out. But again, he's not for everybody, and I get that.
No, definitely not.
And he's done some collaborations with, the song he does with PJ Harvey, I've mentioned it before, is fantastic, and their voices are very great together. I have not heard the first Smile album. I've only heard this one. I did listen to it 3 times. It does seem to blend. And there was times I kind of maybe thought I was just listening to the same track with little different. But I enjoyed it, and again, I like Thom's voice, and so, but I felt very much like I was listening to a Radiohead record, and I think that's what his voice does. Though it's like you can't really escape. You hear his voice. It's I'm listening to Radiohead, whether you are or not. So I don't really have a ton to say other than, I enjoyed it. Nothing really resonated over it. It wasn't like it was excruciating. It wasn't like it was the most wonderful thing I ever heard, but it was like, yeah, this is Thom Yorke, and this is good. This song I Quit did, like, that was the one that I was like, oh wait, what's the name of this song? So I was kind of like, oh yeah, this is cool. This is cool. I kind of like Under Our Pillows. So I don't really. Mike said a lot about it. Richard, with your hate, it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, I'm a fan of of Radiohead and of Thom Yorke. So it was enjoyable. I may check out the other one. I don't know that I would buy this, but it was definitely a new experience. So I give it 3.5 rainbows.
Yeah, usually I don't. Well, I don't think I ever have before picked an album for us to review that I'd never heard at the time.
No.
But so I wanted to kind of try something different with this one, and pick an album that where it's going to be something that people are going to be really interested in. Because it is the most popular album. I don't know about popular, but it is the most purchased. I guess that's popular. According to Discogs, the most collected album of 2024 at this point. I'm sure the Taylor Swift album is going to overtake that. But so I was really interested, and I know that it's the kind of thing where Richard doesn't like Radiohead, so I didn't know how far away this would be from Radiohead. But listening to it, it might as well be a Radiohead album. I mean, for as many different types of different sounds they have on their albums, I could see this being somewhat of a Radiohead album, that kind of one of those ones that's kind of more under the radar, not the big splash one that everybody talks about when it's released. But this is a big splash because it's the most popular album so far of 2024. But this is I listened to it 3 times, and the first time was in my car driving, and that is not the way to hear this. You want to hear this on headphones, or you want to hear this on a stereo, where you're concentrating on the album. You're not up doing the dishes or rearranging your sock drawer or something. You want to pay attention to this, or it's not going to resonate, because it is a lot of soundscapes. It is a lot of low tones. And then the only kind of mid-range really on a lot of it is Thom Yorke's voice. And if you don't like that, it really does cut right through, because there's nothing really competing with it. Everything else is, and that kind of thing. I did think it was okay. I don't know if I'm going to run out and buy it or whatever, but there were certain parts that were just, I thought were incredible. That big buildup of sound with the crescendo of the instruments and Bending Hectic, where it almost sounds like the End of a Day in the Life by the Beatles, but it's even done what I feel is even better than that. It's the way that should have ended, instead of it's like a more of a real slick kind of, and you just wonder where this is going to go. And it didn't, and I wish there was a little more after that, and I wish there was a little more things like that sprinkled throughout, a little more dynamics that really grab you and go whoa. But there's really only maybe 2 or 3 parts or sections in the album like that. So I get where it's like, okay, what's the point? What I'm waiting for something to be catchy or grab my attention or to be memorable or to resonate, and it's not that kind of an album. I think it's a slow burn. I think you have to listen to it a few times to start catching on to the tiny little details and the little intricacies and things like that. But again, not the kind of car, you don't go to work with this on in the car with traffic and braking and changing lanes, and that's not what this is for. But after I listened to it in the proper way, I definitely appreciated it a lot more. Is it, okay computer? No. It is not okay computer. It is not the Benz. But I will go ahead and give it 3.5 rainbows. And that makes
that would be 13.
13 rainbows. Wow, that's knock that out of the park.
Yeah, I jotted kind of the same thing down about Bending Hectic, that there was that buildup that was coming in, and I thought, yeah, this is really. But then after that, it's like right at the part where he says he's letting go of the wheel, and then but then after, kind of like what you were saying, there was like. Was anticlimactic. It was like I wanted something else to happen to really kind of sew things up, but it was kind of like a balloon that just
like
went,
maybe 4 guys hitting at the same piano note at the same time. That would have been an idea. They could have done that.
That's been done before.
And fade out for 2 minutes. Yeah. It did kind of like go right back into like, kind of a basic where it was, and it didn't really. It was like, well, what was that for? it was great, but what was that for?
So you
But,
think Radiohead will get back together?
I don't know that much about them, their personalities or them
Personality-wise, I
personally.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he
I
seems very satisfied with the Smile right now, and
Yeah,
I think
and
he's the driving force.
it's successful, so
Yeah, it's hugely successful. That the
Um,
first album was bigger than this,
yeah.
and this is doing well. And Johnny Greenwood, I mean, his film scores right now. I think he just got nominated for an Oscar. I don't even know if he won. I think he might have won actually.
Well, he's already won an Oscar.
He's
I think,
won
I was
one, yeah.
reading. And,
Yeah.
So yeah, he's very successful with the film scores, and I think a couple television show scores as well. I don't remember, but yeah, musically, I think what Greenwood is doing is well, I'm just repeating myself. It's
No, you're right. No,
really good, and then to me, the vocals just ruin it all. Anyway, what do you know?
So what are we hearing next? It's Richard's turn. He's
Ah,
better have
well,
some incredible vocals in it.
well, okay.
better be.
Oh no.
No, so this one here, this is the December Picaresque from 2001, is it? I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But anyway, if you listen to the double album version, you really only need to listen to A, B, and C sides because the B side is just extra material. So, but yeah, the December Picaresque.
All right, so that is
Lot of
coming up.
lyrics.
Our review of from 2001, the Decembers. Also, we will review our tops and bottoms for the entire year of 1992, and a playlist battle coming up that will have Mike's playlist for Concrete Blonde favorites going up against our Concrete Blonde favorites. What are your Concrete Blonde favorites? You will want to tune in for that video and see how many of those get mentioned, or maybe just not mentioned at all. Then you can tell us in the comments. Tell us in the comments what you thought of Wall of Eyes from the Smile. It is something that a lot of people have heard. A lot of people have, bought.
No, that's the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were giving.
This is what I think of the album, but leave your comments.
So hopefully you will do all of that. You got some work to do, people. We are the Vinyl
Get to
Community
work
Guncles.
on.
I am Robert Fitton, along with
Richard at Calvin Wazoo.
Craig's Vinyl Plethora.
Mike at Hub Tunes.
hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Boy.
We hope.
Cheers.